Happy New Year, Grizzlies fans. It is officially 2024, and we are starting the year off with a game against the San Antonio Spurs. This game tips off at 7 p.m. Noah, thank you for joining me again. I mean, we were just talking about it before I press record, but this is the 13th and 15th team in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
Someone's going to come out with a win. Both teams took an L on New Year's Eve. So we're hoping that the first game of 2024, the first game of January, a fresh start, one of these teams is going to come out with a win. Are you excited about tonight?
I'm excited to see them play basketball and maybe turn a new corner, but it's the same team, minus a few guys. So I don't think it's going to be great, but I'm excited to see John Morant play. I'm excited to see Wembanyama play. So yeah, I mean, that's all you can ask for. Some good basketball players going head to head.
And there are some exciting storylines, at least I'll say. So last time these two teams played, obviously, was the first time Grizzlies fans got to watch Wembanyama. It was not at home, so they'll see him for the first time at FedEx Forum here. And then, of course, because it was November 18th was the last game, there was no John Morant. He is obviously back, so now Spurs fans can watch him. The Grizzlies got Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard back in that last game against the Kings. But what I do want to talk about just really quick before we fast forward to this game is that last game. And of course, the rosters look so different, Noah.
Yeah.
I think the big storyline in that game was the Grizzlies went down by 19 points. They rallied in that fourth quarter. It was 33-14 in that fourth quarter. The Grizzlies came out 120-108. And you've obviously watched every game from then until now. Is that something that has burdened this team?
Yeah, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but they've had a 20-point lead in I think 7 games and they've only won 2 of them. So yeah, they know how to lose a lead for sure. I mean, they're a young team. They're the worst third quarter team in the NBA. I want to say that they're being outscored by roughly 8 points in the third quarter this season.
So I
So
do
even when they have those big
The
leads,
Grizzlies
it's
are right there, Noah. I
are
think
they really?
the third
Okay, so
quarter is
maybe they have a
not going to be
chance.
pretty.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, at least that's a silver lining for Spurs fans, but I do think even against bad teams, the Spurs have really just had a hard time keeping it together all season long, and they have a couple of injuries. I'm sure we'll get into that, but it's not looking good for them right now.
Okay, big injuries for tonight.
Yeah, so Zach Collins is out with a sprained ankle. He had been their starting center. He had moved to the bench where he had been really, really good, shooting above 40% from three, like 10, 5, and like 4 off the bench. And they're going to miss that. And normally you would be able to say, well, maybe they'll have Charles Bassi. Well, he also tore his ACL a while ago. He is gone. Charles Bediako, who is their G League guy, he is done. He also tore his ACL. He is done. So they're kind of at the bottom of the barrel right now. They're playing Mamukelashvili. They're playing Dominic Barlow. Keldon Johnson is probable for tonight, so he'll be in there, but missing Zach Collins is a big deal. He's one of their few real NBA like rotational players, and I'm not really sure how it's going to look without him because it has been rough the first couple of games when he's been on the sidelines.
Yeah, and he was the third leading scorer the last time these two teams played. It was led by Keldon Johnson, who had 22 points, so we may or may not see him tonight. Questionable usually leans toward playing. And then Wembanyama had 19 and 13, which is about what he's averaging per the season. And then there was 3 guys who had like 16, 17, 13-ish. Zach Collins, one of those guys. In that game too, the Grizzlies had they just played really well. Obviously, they scored 120 points. This is more than they've scored, it's more than they're averaging this season. They had 56 points in the paint. They had 45 bench
God.
points. They had Santi and Zaire both had 17 points. It's their best games of the season. In terms of depth, because you're naming all these guys who are out again, is this something the Grizzlies can take advantage of this evening?
Absolutely, because even with the Spurs having, we named them Mamukelashvili, Dominic Barlow. I think they just signed Mamadou Diakite. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not exactly 100% sure. These guys are not proven commodities in the NBA. If they're not getting minutes on a team that has 5 wins all season, the depth's probably not that good. So I think that'll definitely play into the favor of the Grizzlies, especially with you saying, right, like Marcus Smart is back, Luke Kennard is back, and John Moran is back. So yeah, I think the Memphis Grizzlies probably have the upper hand in depth this time around.
However, I'm going to give a little sprinkle to the Spurs because the Grizzlies are 30th in points, just in scoring in general. The Spurs 25th, and although that's not a ton better, it still is. What are some positives about the Spurs this year that the Grizzlies will have to look out for?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I think it's got to be Wembanyama. He's basically a defensive system unto his own, right? I mean, he's a guy who's protecting the rim. He's making those weak side rotations, even when he's not necessarily only playing center, though he's played a lot of center recently, and those center minutes have looked really good. And if the Spurs play him alongside Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, that's their best three-man lineup of the season. Hasn't seen a ton of run, but when they do, they're outscoring opponents by over 20 points per 100 possessions. So if we can see a little bit more of that three-man lineup mixed in with some shooters like maybe Doug McDermott, Chetty Osman, I think that they could possibly really hang in here. But that's not really a lineup that Pop has really leaned on. It's been more Malachi Branham. It's been a little bit of Blake Wesley recently. So we'll see, but definitely the positive here is Wembanyama. He does it on both ends of the floor, and I'm not even sure he really knows what he's doing yet. So that's always fun to watch.
Last time we talked before the game, we kind of had these cool comparisons of Jaren Jackson Jr. and what he does versus what, Wembanyama could be in terms of position, in terms of like how they play defense, how they score. Again, this is the first time Grizzlies fans are going to see him live and in person, this phenom. Can you give us just a little bit of insight, a little bit of highlight of what FedEx Forum gets to watch tonight in terms of the #1 overall draft pick?
Yeah, he's just so unique, and I talked about it in a video a couple days ago. He doesn't really have any go-to moves yet. He doesn't have really like a favorite spot from the court, but he's so unique as far as his athletic fluidity. He has the eye-hand coordination. He has those insanely long strides. He has just the ability to get off the floor so light, and then you're like, well, he moves like he's 6'4", but he's 7'4". And I think that's what you can look forward to, right? He's a guy who's sprinting down the floor. He's catching lobs with his back to the basket. He's taking off all these reverse dunks. That's fun. That part is really fun. And occasionally, again, he doesn't have the go-to move, but occasionally he'll break out like a rocker step into a step back three. Half the time it doesn't go in, but when it does, that's, I mean, exhilarating, even if you're a visiting fan or you're the home team of the Grizzlies, right? You're not a Spurs fan. So I think that's what you can look forward to. Just seeing things that you've never seen from a guy who's that big. I mean, because I don't really think we see guys that big do what he does. And it's not consistent yet, but it is still very much a lot of fun. So it excites me. I hope that it excites Grizzlies fans because I think they're in for a show.
Yes, I think it will be exciting. I think this will be a really fun atmosphere tonight. Ja and Wemby going head to head. Not really head to head, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think everyone's kind of hoping for a poster on Wemby. I don't know if we're gonna get it, but like what you hope for in an ideal world. All right, the game tips off at 7 p.m. tonight. It's on Bally Sports Southeast. Noah, thank you so very much. Tell people where they can get your work.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. You can find me at the Vic and Roll over on Substack. I just started that in December, so we're slowly building a following. I appreciate you having me on again. And yeah, just check my workout and hopefully we can do this soon. I always have a lot of fun talking Spurs hoops with you.